The trees were burning. Smoke curled into the sky like black ribbons, and the sharp cries of wild beasts echoed through the once peaceful forest. A battle no one expected had broken out between two neighboring colonies, one human, one Vulpine. The humans had settled on the edge of the lush green valley, unaware that the land was sacred to the Vulpine clans. Misunderstandings turned to insults, and then, without warning, war. Jace, a young mechanic from the human side, had never held a weapon before. He worked in the back of the outpost, fixing broken drones and transport bikes. But that day, the emergency alarm screamed through the compound. By the time he stepped outside, everything was chaos. Soldiers ran in all directions, and Vulpine raiders with glowing eyes and blue-tipped ears stormed through the walls like shadows with claws. Jace didn't run. He couldn't. Something inside him refused to leave. He picked up a fallen medic bag and ran toward the forest where the injured had fled. That's when he heard it. A small voice, weak, crying. Not human. He followed the sound past smoking roots and fallen trees until he found her. A child, a Vulpine girl no older than 6, hidden under a large broken wing of a scout drone. Her large ears twitched as she coughed, her blue hair matted with dirt. She looked up at him with fear, but also hope. He dropped to his knees and pulled the wing off her. Her leg was twisted. She whimpered but didn't cry out. "It's okay," he said gently. "I'm here to help." She didn't respond in words, but she didn't resist either. Jace wrapped her in a thermal blanket from the medic kit and lifted her in his arms. He didn't care that she was the enemy. He didn't care that his own side would question him. She was just a child. And she needed help. The path back was hard. Fires still raged. The ground shook from distant blasts. He kept moving. Halfway back, 2 Vulpine soldiers appeared from the trees. They raised their weapons at him and snarled. He froze, raising his hand slowly, still holding the child. But then one of them stepped forward. Her eyes widened. Her weapon lowered. She stared at the girl in Jace's arms, then at him. You saved her," the soldier whispered. She wasn't just any warrior. Jace could tell by her posture, her presence. She was someone important. "I didn't know who she was," Jace said. "She was crying. I couldn't leave her there." The warrior stepped closer, inspecting the girl's face. Then she knelt. "My daughter," she said softly. Jace blinked. "Daughter?" The other soldier looked stunned too. The woman turned back to Jace and looked him directly in the eyes. "You've saved the child of a matron, a high mother of the Vulpine clans. Do you know what that means, human?" Jace shook his head. "No, I just did what anyone should have done." "No," she said firmly. "Not anyone would have risked their life to carry a wounded kid through a battlefield, under our law. Such an act of protection binds you, not only to the child, but to the mother as well." Jace's mouth opened, then closed. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "What does that mean?" "It means by ancient right, you must take us both. As protector, as consort, as family." Jace stood frozen, not from fear, but from the weight of those words. He had come to fix machines. Now he was part of a life bond he never asked for. She stepped closer, her fierce eyes softening. "You are not our enemy. You saved what is most dear to me. From now on, your fate is tied to ours." The wind shifted through the trees, carrying away the smoke. Around them, the forest still burned. But something else had sparked in that moment. Something that would change both their lives forever. Jace sat quietly inside a warm tent made of soft alien fabrics. The air smelled like sweet herbs and something unfamiliar but calming. Across from him sat the Vulpine matron, her sharp eyes watching him closely. The young girl he had saved now slept peacefully beside her mother, wrapped in thick furs. She looked much better, though her leg was still bandaged. The matron's name was Shala. She hadn't spoken much since they brought him here. She only gave him food, a place to sit, and time to think. But now, after hours of silence, she finally said what was on her mind. "Why did you not run away with your people when the fighting began?" Jace looked up slowly. "I'm not a soldier. I fix things." But I couldn't ignore her. She was crying. "I didn't see an enemy. I saw a little girl in pain." Shala nodded slightly. Her long blue hair shimmered under the soft tent light, her large fox ears twitching just once. "Many of your kind do not care for ours. Some see us as beasts. Others as threats, but you carried her through fire and death." "That is no small thing," Jace hesitated. "I wasn't trying to earn anything. I wasn't looking for reward. I just did what felt right." Shala's expression softened, but her tone stayed calm and serious. "And yet, by our law, you have done more than save a life. You formed a sacred tie, one we do not break." Jace leaned forward. "You said that before, that I'm now bound to both of you?" She nodded. "Yes, in Vulpine culture, a life savior is not only honored but joined. You saved my daughter. And so, you take responsibility for her future. For mine, we will not leave." "You." Jace opened his mouth to respond but stopped himself. How could he say no? But how could he say yes to something he didn't understand? "Look, I respect your ways, but I'm just a human. I didn't mean to change anyone's future." Shala smiled gently for the first time since they met. Sometimes futures are changed without intention. Sometimes fate chooses for us. She stood up and stepped closer. Her movement was graceful, like a wind through tall grass. She looked down at him not with pride, but with something deeper trust. "You do not have to understand everything now. But you must know this. You are safe. Here. You are not a prisoner. You are one of us now." Jace looked at the child, then back at her. "Does she know?" Shala nodded. "She knows more than she lets on. Her name is Renari." "She said you smelled like burnt metal and kindness." Jace chuckled. "That's a new one." Shala knelt beside her daughter, gently brushing her hair. "She has no father. I never chose a mate. Vulpine males are often warriors first, fathers second. I always believed I didn't need one, until now." Jace looked away, unsure of what to feel. He never thought he'd be someone important to aliens. He never thought kindness would lead to something this big. And yet, deep down, something about it felt right. Suddenly, a horn blew outside the tent. Voices followed. Not angry ones, calm and curious. Shala stood quickly and pulled the flap open. A group of other Vulpine had arrived. Elders, warriors, and healers. All had come to see the human consort. They bowed their heads to Jace when they entered. Some even placed their hands on their hearts. "You are brave," said an older male with silver fur at his temples. "You could have left her, but you did not. And now you carry the respect of the clans." Jace looked around the tent, unsure what to say. Another voice spoke, a soft young one. "Can he stay with us forever?" It was Renari. She was awake, eyes wide, ears perked. She clutched the blanket and stared at him with hope. Shala looked at him too. "That decision is yours now, Jace." He looked at the child, then at the mother. The smoke of war was gone, but something new was burning in his chest, not fear, something gentler. Maybe it wasn't duty that brought him here. Maybe it was the start of something better than anything he ever knew. The next morning, the forest was quiet. Mist covered the ground like a soft blanket, and the sound of birds replaced the cries of war. Jace stepped out of the tent slowly. Everything felt strange, calm, peaceful, but unfamiliar. A few Vulpine children ran past him, their blue tails flicking with joy, and they giggled when they saw him. He gave them a small smile, but his mind was still full of questions. He had spent the night thinking about what Shala had said, about the bond, the law, and what it really meant. Back home, no one talked about such things. Everything had rules, contracts, paperwork. But here, a single act of kindness had rewritten his place in the world. Shala appeared beside him, her long blue hair flowing over her shoulders. She wore a soft white robe, woven with symbols that shimmered when the sun hit them. Her voice was gentle but steady. "The elders wish to see you again. There are customs that must be completed. They want to bless the bond in front of the clan." Jace turned to her. "I still don't know if I understand all this. Are you sure it's okay for me to be here? I'm just me." "You are the one who carried a daughter through fire," she said. "You are not just anything, and you are not alone." She reached out and touched his arm softly. Her hand was warm. He didn't pull away. They walked together to the central clearing where the other Vulpine had gathered. Small fires burned in carved stone bowls, and the scent of herbs filled the air. The elders sat in a half-circle, each one dressed in ceremonial robes, tails wrapped around their legs. Rinari stood near them, her little arms hugging a stuffed creature made of leaves and fur. The oldest elder, a woman with silver blue fur and deep golden eyes, raised her voice so all could hear. "Today we witness a sacred tie. A bond not made by blood or bargain, but by choice and courage. This human, Jace of Earth, risked his life to save a child of our people. He did not ask for reward. He did not ask for protection. Yet he has earned both." All eyes turned to him. Jace swallowed hard. I didn't expect this," he said honestly. "I only wanted to help." The elder smiled. "And that is why your name will be remembered." She turned to Shala. "Do you accept this human as one who stands beside you?" "I do," Shala replied without hesitation. "Do you share his future with your daughter?" "I do," the elder looked at Jace. "And you, Jace of Earth, do you accept the bond you have formed? Will you protect this child and stand beside her mother, not as a visitor, but as one of us?" He looked at Rinari. Her eyes were so wide and full of hope. Then he looked at Shala, standing proud and calm beside him. "I will," he said. The crowd let out a soft breath, almost like a song of wind through leaves. The elders bowed. Children cheered. And the fires rose just a little higher, as if the forest itself approved. Later that day, Jace sat under a large, glowing tree with Rinari asleep beside him, and Shala gently brushing her daughter's hair. The sky above was full of stars, and the moonlight gave everything a soft blue glow. "You're really staying," Shala said quietly. He nodded. "I don't know where else I'd go. I think this feels more real than anything I left behind." She looked at him for a long moment. "You may not be Vulpine, but your heart beats the same," he chuckled. "You know, back home, nobody ever said anything that poetic." She smiled and leaned her head slightly on his shoulder. He didn't move. He didn't need to. For once, there was no war, no fear. Just a strange new home. A daughter who had chosen him, and a mother who no longer stood alone. Days passed like gentle wind through the trees. Jace slowly got used to the rhythm of the Vulpine village. He helped where he could, carrying water, fixing broken tools, even learning to gather glowing fruit from high trees. The others began to smile at him, and some even asked for his help without fear. For the first time, he felt like he belonged somewhere. Rinari followed him everywhere. She was healing fast. Her leg still had a slight limp, but she no longer needed help walking. She would tug his sleeve, asking questions about Earth, about his tools, about why humans had no tails. He would answer with a laugh, sometimes making up silly answers just to hear her giggle. One afternoon, while he was repairing a broken light crystal, Shala sat beside him on the large flat stone they now used as a bench. She held a basket of dried roots but didn't speak right away. Her eyes were watching the sky. "You seem at peace," she finally said. I think I am, Jace replied. I never thought I would find something like this, after so much war and noise. You have given more than you know, she said gently. To my daughter, to me. Even the village feels different since you arrived. Jace looked over. Do they really accept me, or is it just respect because of what I did? Shala didn't answer right away. She placed the basket down and looked at him seriously. They accept you because they see what I see, a protector. A man who didn't ask for honor but earned it. Someone who listens. Who stays. He felt warmth rise in his chest, but also something heavier. What if I make a mistake? What if I don't understand all your ways? You will learn. No one expects you to be perfect. Even we are still learning each other. Suddenly, shouting came from the outer trees. Jace stood up quickly. Shala narrowed her eyes and moved in front of Renari, who had just come running with a berry-stained mouth. Vulpine warriors appeared from the forest trail, dragging someone behind them. It was a human, a soldier in torn armor, eyes full of fear and pain. Jace stepped forward. Wait, he's one of ours. The lead warrior looked at him with caution. He crossed into our land with a scanner and a hidden weapon. He could have hurt someone. The human soldier struggled. I didn't mean to. I was looking for my unit. I got lost. Jace moved closer. Let me speak with him, please. He's scared, not dangerous. The warriors hesitated. Then Shala stepped forward and nodded. Let him try. Jace knelt beside the man. Hey, it's okay, you're safe. I'm Jace Mechanic, remember? From Base Camp 3. The man's eyes widened. Jace, you're alive? We thought you were dead. Not dead, just somewhere new. He looked around at the Vulpine. They're not what we were told, are they? Jace shook his head. No, they're not monsters. They're people, families, just like us. The man looked down. I'm sorry. I was following orders. I didn't mean harm. Shala stepped beside them. She looked at Jace, then at the soldier. Because of you, we will show mercy. He will not be harmed. But he must stay until the elders decide. Jace nodded. Thank you. That night, Jace sat by the fire with Shala and Renari. He felt the weight of what had happened. You took a risk, she said. I know. But I couldn't let him be punished without understanding. That's what started the war in the first place. Shala smiled. You are becoming more Vulpine than you know. He laughed. Maybe, but I still can't grow ears like yours. Renari giggled. We can make you fake ones. They all laughed under the stars. For a moment, everything felt light again. But deep inside, Jace knew something important had changed. He had just stopped another war with nothing but his voice and heart. And the bond between him, the mother, and her daughter had grown even stronger. Asterisk. The next morning brought rain. Soft and warm, it fell through the trees like silver threads. The forest shimmered with life. Jace walked with Shala and Renari to the nearby hill where they could see the entire valley. The Vulpine village sat peacefully below, smoke rising gently from the cooking fires. Somewhere behind them, the captured human soldier was being treated kindly by the healers. Under watch but not in chains, Shala stood still, the wind moving her robe and hair. Her ears twitched as she listened to the sounds around her. Jace stood beside her, unsure what the silence meant. You're worried, he said softly. She nodded. The forest is too quiet. Our scouts say your people are preparing another advance. Perhaps to retrieve the soldier. Or perhaps for something worse. Jace clenched his jaw. I thought this was over. I thought saving Renari changed things. It changed everything, she replied. But not everyone sees it. Some only see danger in what is different. Jace turned away, staring at the trees. Then, maybe I should go talk to them, explain what happened. Tell them the truth. Shala looked at him. And if they don't listen? Then I still have to try. She reached out and touched his shoulder. You have already done more than enough. You owe us nothing. I don't see it that way, he said. You gave me a place when I had none. You let me stay when others might have feared me. You didn't treat me like an outsider. This is my home now. Her eyes met his, soft and deep like a calm river. Then we will go with you. You're not facing this alone. Later that day, with a group of warriors and elders behind them, Jace stood at the forest's edge, facing the border of the human side. A temporary ceasefire had been agreed to after the captured soldier was returned peacefully, but tension still lingered. 2 human officers and several armed guards waited on the other side, watching cautiously. When Jace stepped forward, the officers looked surprised. Jace, you're alive? He nodded. Very much alive. And you're living with them? Yes, and not as a prisoner. I saved a child. Her name is Renari. She's the daughter of the Vulpine Matron. They welcomed me after that. One officer frowned. You crossed into enemy territory during the conflict. I crossed into a place where someone was hurt. And I saved her. That doesn't make me a traitor. The second officer, older and more experienced, narrowed his eyes. You've bonded with them? Jace took a breath. Yes. Their customs say that when you save a matron's child, you become part of their family. They've honored that, and I've chosen to stay. Murmurs moved through the human side. Confusion, disbelief, maybe even anger. But why? You're one of us. I still am. But that doesn't mean they're my enemies. They're not monsters. They're parents, children, warriors, yes, but also healers, builders, dreamers. Just like us. Shala stepped beside him, silent and calm. Her presence made the soldiers tense, but she didn't speak. Jace continued. We don't have to keep fighting. I've seen what peace looks like, and it's worth protecting. The older officer looked around, uncertain. Even if Command doesn't agree, Jace looked him in the eyes. Then maybe Command needs to see it too. The officer stepped back to speak privately. Jace returned to Shala and Renari, who waited with the others. Renari reached up and held his hand. Did it work? She asked quietly. Jace smiled at her. Maybe we'll see. That night, back in the village, there was no cheering, no celebration, just quiet hope. The village remained alert, but not afraid. They had lived through worse. Shala sat beside Jace by the fire. You spoke bravely today. Even I felt your words. I just told the truth, he said. And maybe that's what people need now. You are becoming more than a consort, she said gently. You are becoming a leader. He laughed lightly. I'm just a mechanic who picked up a scared little girl. Shala leaned closer, her voice softer. And that may have saved 2 worlds. Asterisk. The following week brought silence from the human side. No scouts, no drones, no threats, just an uneasy quiet. Jace kept busy helping with village repairs and teaching the Vulpine children how to fix basic tools. Renari never left his side, and Shala began speaking to him with less formality, her words more warm, her eyes softer. But in the back of his mind, Jace knew something was coming. Peace was never easy. It came in the form of a hovercraft bright and loud landing just outside the border trees. Human colors. High command. Jace, Shala, and a group of Vulpine elders approached carefully. No weapons were drawn, but both sides were alert. The door opened, and a tall human woman stepped out, wearing a long gray coat and a face carved by years of war. General Colburn. She was not someone easily moved. You're the one they call Jace? She asked coldly. He stepped forward. Yes, ma'am. She looked at the Vulpine beside him, then back at him. You're living with them. Speaking for them. I'm living with my family, he answered firmly. Colburn narrowed her eyes. You're a human. Your loyalty should be with Earth. My loyalty is with what's right. I saved a child, and their people saved me. I chose peace. Shella stood quietly beside him. She didn't speak, but her presence was powerful. Rhinari peeked from behind her mother, clutching Jace's hand tightly. Colburn's voice lowered. Command wants to strike again. They think this ceasefire is weakness. They think the Vulpine will rise against us when we lower our guard. They won't, Jace said. They just want to live like us. Like anyone. And how do you know they won't betray us? Because they could have killed me a dozen times and didn't. They could have hurt the soldier we left behind, but didn't. They honored a bond they never asked for. That's not weakness. That's trust. Colburn crossed her arms. And what do you want from us? Talk to them. Meet them. Let your officers see what I've seen. Don't judge by fear, judge by action. The general looked at Shala, who now stepped forward. We did not ask to rule you, she said calmly. We only ask to protect our own. The bond between my daughter and this human. It was not planned, but it is sacred. You can try to break it. Or you can respect it. Colburn looked at Rhinari. The little Vulpine girl stared back without blinking, her small blue tail wrapped around her legs. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the general turned away and sighed. I'll speak with command. I'll try to delay the strike. But understand, if this trust is broken, if there's blood again, it won't stop next time. Jace nodded. Then let's make sure it doesn't. Come to that. The hovercraft rose and disappeared into the sky. The Vulpine and human stood watching until the sound faded. Back at the village, the mood was tense but hopeful. That night, the fires were quiet. There was no celebration, no loud joy, only warmth shared between those who had risked everything to protect something gentle. Jace sat outside the tent, sharpening a tool. Rhinari curled up beside him, asleep in his coat. Shala stepped out, her robe loose, her hair unbound. You could have died today, she said. I know, he replied. But you stood between two powers. You carried peace like a weapon, Jace chuckled. That's a fancy way to describe a tired mechanic, she smiled. You are more than that now. He looked up at her, really looked. The firelight caught her eyes. Her ears twitched softly in the breeze. She didn't look like an alien anymore, not to him. She looked like someone who had always been part of his story. He just hadn't realized. You don't have to take me if you don't want, Shala said suddenly. Our law gives you the right, but not the obligation. Jace looked down at Rhinari, then up at her again. I didn't stay because of the law. I stayed because I wanted to. You and Rhinari. You're my family now. She came closer and sat beside him. They didn't speak for a while. There was no need. The stars blinked above, and for the first time in years, the sky felt peaceful. Maybe it wasn't a perfect world, but Jace had found something real in it, a daughter who trusted him, and a warrior mother who believed in him. And together, they would shape a new kind of future. One not written by war, but by love, loyalty, and choice.